All right, I'm here in Playground. I'm going to talk a little bit about EPIC documentation for PCTs. I know you guys don't really get anything, which is unfortunate. So we're going to start in flow sheets. That's where the majority of your documentation happens. So from flow sheets, a variety of different flow sheets will be opened based on your role. So we're going to start with the PCT flow sheet because the majority of what you're doing is really off of this. So in the PCT flow sheet, you're going to see a variety of rows together. So we've got vital signs, we have diet, intake and output, intake for just nutritional supplements, rounding, skin interventions, and then daily care. So anything that's in this flow sheet is really something that you can do and is part of your job. So to get a new column, I'm going to go to Add Columns. That's going to open up a new one. If I need to back time it, I can do Insert Column. So if I did vitals at 1300 and wrote them down because it was just slowing me down too much, I do need to get those in pretty quickly, but I can back time if I have to. Document, I'm just going to click in. I can use the arrows up and down to move more quickly, or I can just type in and click with the mouse. Once I put those all in, you're only putting in regular vital signs. You're never going to put in the amount of oxygen. This is also where your weights would go. So all of that would go here. My patient ate 100% of breakfast. I'm going to chart that. It's not actually a complete list. You can't just type in any number. So your choices are 0, 25, 50, 75, and 100. So you just kind of have to estimate beyond that. Let's say they drink all their Ensure. And they drank 120 mLs, that's where those would go. Toileting, you got them up to the bathroom. Where is their position? So if you're turning them or you got them up to the chair, this is where you would document that. If you have the chair cushion or pressure redistributing mattress or something like that, that's where you would document it. It's really important that you're helping to document activity. And turning, those are really important things that we're watching carefully. If you do the nose to toes and the CHG baths, this is where they go. If you do the 8-step Foley care for your patients with a Foley, that's where this would go. If anybody refuses something, you do need to escalate that to the nurse. The CHG is used for patients with central lines and for patients with the MRSA risk. This is where we're going to document our compression stockings or SCDs. And then if you're doing visual checks on a patient and you're not using the paper, this is where those would go. If you notified the nurse, this is where you would document that you notified them of vital signs or pain or skin issues. This just covers you that, yes, I did notify. So once you've notified, I would also put in a comment, who. You notified, just to cover you. The other one I want to show you is intake and output. So it's important that we keep up with intake and output. If you try to put a number here, so PO is oral, nothing's going to happen. So if I try to put in 120, it won't take it. And that's because this is an overarching grouping. So if I want to chart oral intake, I'm going to click on this hamburger menu and go to Add PO. And then I'm going to type in the amount. Same thing with urine. I can't put a number here. I'm going to have to click on this little menu here and pick that they voided. And then if it was a void, then I'm going to document that amount here. If you then have to put in a Foley and you need to chart that, go back up to urine, click on Foley. That's going to add a Foley row. And that's where you would document any urine you cast them for. Unmeasurable, they had a stool or something like that, you're going to put it here. It's really important that you chart not just bowel movements, but the amount and, most importantly, the consistency. A lot of times you're the ones that are seeing it, not the nurse, and making sure they know about any diarrhea and that you're charting it so it shows up for people that are watching to make sure we don't need to be sending stools for C. diff. So 6 or 7. anything that you don't think would fit into that would hold the shape of the container, anything that would take the shape of the container, um, will need to be sent for C. diff. The most important thing is this, the Bristol stool and the number. Those are super important. A lot of times we'll have you do a specialized patient list. This is not my NCP list, but we'll show you patients at risk for things. So whether it's a high fall risk, whether it's a patient at risk for MRSA, and that way you have kind of an idea of what needs to happen. You may also want to put in some things like labs that are overdue or that are due. Using the brain is also super important, especially for techs. It allows you to see tests, so this means that there's labs that are due. So this is where you would go to be like, okay, these are the patients I have labs. It also will show things like nutritional supplements that we need to document or terms, things like that. So this is brain. Once you sign into your patients as part of their care team, brain will be an option. The first one's option, the second is patient list, and then the third will be our unit manager that'll show you all your patients.